All right, when we do a radial design, remember we're almost making like a pizza slice out of our design. If we think about making something in a circle or that's coming out of that central access point, and you saw in the video that I had lines to kind of show like a cross section of the design. Here is a cross section of the design. Do you see this little arrow? That is going in your square. You get your foil. It has to point to the center, and then point to the center, and turn it, point to the center, and finally to the center. That way all your designs are going to connect, and it will be in radial symmetry. So what I like to do is take one square, and you can use a couple of these to practice different designs. Of course, you're going to use your pencil here. I'm going to probably use a marker. But you can just see if you want to make like a semicircle, or maybe you're going to make a peak that comes out. Whatever you do you see how I am making sure that it connects with these little dash marks on the side? That way I know that these lines are going to connect when I do my patterns, my radial symmetry patterns. This one now, I'm going to skip this. I'm going to go all the way, and I've got to match it up to the one that I skipped. Excuse me. Maybe I'm going to do one more big rainbow arch here from dash mark to dash mark. Did you see that? Now I'm going to have some room to do some patterning work. So for example, I think in here, I'm going to do some circles. This is where you may want to use the pattern sheets that I'm going to give you to use as reference. Maybe I'm going to do some sort of triangle lines. Here's my completed design. I like this. I think it's going to look really nice. Now I'm going to cut along the black line so that it fits on my face, in my square. So you're going to get rid of this stuff here. Cut along the line. Now that I've got it cut out, I'm just going to double check on my pattern sheet. Is it going to be a match? Yes. When I turn it around, it's going to match. Yes. 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 That's going to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. If you struggle with doing this sample, you can draw some designs on this page, making sure each quadrant looks the same. But that's a lot of extra work. So anyways, I just want to make sure that you can see how we're going to make this radial symmetry when you get your sheet of aluminum. Speaking of the aluminum, we are able to make some really cool textural marks just using simple tools like our pencil. We can use some of these clay plastic tools that have the pointy tips. And we can even use some toothpicks. We have some large toothpicks that I also have for us to use. We have to always make sure that underneath our foil we're using something soft like a magazine. And that allows us to push into the foil. So here's we go. Here's how we are going to start. You are getting the 6x6 foil. I will give you a little scrap foil to practice some of your lines on. But please, please, please do not start drawing all over this foil. You have to do it in a very careful way. You're going to take your design. You're going to take a piece of tape, masking tape, and you're going to tape it very carefully to the very edge, making sure that your corners are lining up. This is sharp, so please be careful with the metal. You're 4th grade. I know that you can do this. or 5th grade or whoever you are that I'm teaching. Put your tape over. Now this is not moving. It's secured down. Now I can take my pencil or my little big tool, my toothpick here, and I can redraw my designs. Now I'm not drawing the square. Not drawing the square. I'm only drawing my designs. And when you get over that tape, you're going to have to press a little harder there. It wants to flip up. If you notice and you flip up your paper, your line is starting to show through here and on the back. So you keep going until you have your whole design all pushed through. Making sure I'm holding down this paper securely so it doesn't slide. Great. All my designs are traced out. Do you see that? It's a quarter of the way done. Now what I need to do is pull my paper off, and I need to move it, just like we had before on the test paper, so that the arrow is pointing towards the center, and you can see where you need to line up your lines, and it should work if you're getting everything nicely into the corners and on the edges, and then tape it down again and do the same thing. You're going to draw over your lines in this quadrant, this section. Okay, I did all my sections. I can lift away, and do you see how I've got this radial symmetry design? I can take my paper away. My paper is pretty worn out. Using that pencil 4 times over those lines, it's pretty much dried out. You can put that to the side. We're going to have to figure out some way I'm going to get your name on the back of here. I would rather use maybe a masking tape. Now you can see that you have a lot of lines on here. Today we're going to work on making those lines push and pull, get raised up and pushed back. The way that we're going to do this, we're going to use our tools like our pencil, our large toothpick, some of those sculpture tools, and we're going to make sure our foil, our aluminum, is on a soft surface like a magazine. That allows it to push into and pull. Now I can already see some areas that I think would be kind of cool to pop out. I want to double check that all my lines are connecting. Sometimes, you know, it's not perfect, we're not machines, but maybe I want to make sure that all those circles, lines, were connecting. This is where you want to take your time, be very neat. Remember, we don't need to be perfect, but we just need to do our best. So you can kind of go over some of those lines just to make sure that they're really clean. And you'll notice that they push in really nicely. It's very satisfying. So let's say I want some of these triangles to pop out towards me. If I want something to pop out towards me, I need to flip this over. This is called repoussé and chasing. I'm actually going to go along that line, and I'm going to just kind of like rub with my tool. Rubbing with my tool. And maybe I'm going to go right on those triangle lines. Be very careful what you are doing here. You don't want to punch through the foil, but you want it to give, flip it over, enough to pop. And you can feel that with your finger. You're going to continue to do those kind of push and pulls with your tools. Let's say I want to make these circles push down. I'm going to take another tool. Give different tools a try. Some work better than others, to be honest with you. I kind of like pencils. You can also use sort of like the plastic end of a pen. I will give you a little piece of practice foil again to just try some different techniques, trying some different tools. I'm just going to follow along. This is going to take you a little bit of time. It may take you the large part of the entire time, and maybe next time you'll color. Do your best.